Welcome to the deep dive. We are really thrilled to have you with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us.
Whether you are prepping for a meeting or you're looking to catch up on the crypto world or you're just insanely curious about how digital assets actually work, you are the exact right place.
Because today's mission is all about providing a really engaging, beginner-friendly overview of the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem.
Right. We want to strip away all the buzzwords and look at the actual engine without making you feel completely overwhelmed.
The crypto space is notorious for its noise. I mean, it is so easy to get bogged down in market hype and Twitter debates.
Oh, for sure.
But if we peel back those layers and look at the actual architecture, the cryptography, the game theory, it is incredibly robust.
And we have a really massive stack of sources to pull from today to do exactly that.
We do. We're looking at Satoshi Nakamoto's original 2008 Bitcoin white paper to start.
Right. And alongside that, we've got deep technical research from academic journals, practical cybersecurity guides from Ledger and Coin Bureau, and we're also pulling market insights from platforms like Lightspark, Stripe, and Crypto.com.
It is a really incredible cross-section of data.
Okay, let's unpack this. We are going to demystify how Bitcoin works, how to truly own it, the clever ways it's scaling for everyday use, and crucially, how to avoid the dark side of the crypto world.
Starting right at that foundation with the 2008 white paper, because that paper introduced a fundamental shift in how we process trust.
Yeah, let's talk about traditional finance first. Usually you have to trust a centralized entity, right?
Okay.
A bank.
Exactly. The bank maintains the private database of who owns what, and you just have to trust their security. You trust their auditors.
But Satoshi's model flips that entirely.
Right. It proposed a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, and it's based on cryptographic proof instead of central trust.
So the ledger is public.
Yes. It's distributed across thousands of independent nodes all over the world.
Which brings up the obvious question. How is new Bitcoin actually made in a system like that? Because there's no central bank printing it.
That is where miners come in. They use a system called proof of work.
Padobibobu.
Yeah. Miners use specialized hardware, these are called ASICs, to solve incredibly complex math puzzles.
And by solving those puzzles, they validate the transactions on the blockchain ledger.
Exactly. And for doing that work and securing the network, they earn block rewards, newly minted Bitcoin.
But whenever you talk about a decentralized network, someone always brings up the fear of a hack. Like, what if someone just takes over Bitcoin?
The famous 51% attack.
Right. The idea that a bad actor could amass enough computing power to control 51% of the network and rewrite the blockchain.
It is a common fear.
Yeah.
But the sources highlight why it's basically a myth at this point. Pulling that off on Bitcoin isn't just difficult, it is economically absurd.
I was looking at the actual numbers from the research on this, and the capital expenditure is just staggering.
Oh, it's wild. To control the network for just one single week, an attacker would need to burn roughly $6 billion.
$6 billion just for a week.
Just for a week.
Yeah.
And the breakdown of that cost is where the logistics become really obvious.
It's not just buying a giant supercomputer.
No, you're looking at around $4.6 billion just to acquire the necessary ASIC mining hardware.
Because those chips are designed solely to run the Bitcoin algorithm, right?
Exactly. Then you need about $1.2 billion for the physical infrastructure. You can't just plug these into a wall outlet.
You'd need, what, industrial cooling, massive transformer?
Warehouse space, all of it.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you are spending roughly $130 million in a single week just for the electricity.
Okay, but to play devil's advocate here, for a hostile nation state, $6 billion is kind of a drop in the bucket. They could just print that money to destroy a threat.
They absolutely have the capital. But the sources point out a severe logistical bottleneck.
Yeah.
The global silicon supply chain.
Oh, right. Because acquiring $4.6 billion worth of cutting-edge ASICs is not like buying laptops on Amazon.
Not at all. Those chips are manufactured by a very small number of foundries. Fulfilling an order of that magnitude would take years.
It would immediately spike global semiconductor prices.
Right, and it would alert the entire network long before the attack could even start. Plus, the energy footprint of suddenly spinning up that much hash rate.
You'd probably be able to see it from space.
Literally. It is impossible to do stealthily. And even if they somehow did it, the rules still restrict their power. They couldn't magically print new Bitcoin or steal coins from wallets they don't have the keys for.
Because the independent nodes would instantly reject any blocks that violate the core rules.
Exactly. Their only real power would be temporarily censoring new transactions or reorganizing recent ones. They'd spend billions just to disrupt the network for a week and destroy the value of their own hardware.
So the game theory means it's far more profitable to just mine, honestly.
Yes, that alignment of incentives makes it mathematically secure. And that ties directly into the economic model.
Mm.
Bitcoin is mathematically scarce.
Right, there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins.
Hard cap.
And the issuance of those new coins slows down over time through a mechanism called the halving.
Where the reward miners get is cut in half roughly every 4 years. It makes it act a lot like digital gold.
Which forces a hard limit on supply entirely independent of human politics, but understanding that scarcity is really only half the battle.
Right, because the next challenge is how you actually hold it. Which brings us to the keys to the kingdom. Self-custody.
Not your keys, not your coins. It is the most famous phrase in crypto.
And it's so true. I like to use this analogy to explain it. Think of your public key, like your bank account number. Anyone can see it, anyone can send money to it.
Right.
But your private key is like your PIN. Whoever holds that PIN controls the funds entirely.
And if you leave your funds on a centralized exchange, you don't actually hold the PIN. You trust a third party to hold it for you. Which means if they go bankrupt or get hacked, your coins are gone.
Exactly. That's why self-custody hardware wallets are so critical. Devices like a Trezor, a Ledger, or a DIY seed signer.
And the ultimate master key to those wallets is the seed phrase, which is just brilliant engineering.
It really is. It's based on the BIP39 standard. Instead of a massive string of unreadable code, it gives you a 12 or 24-word recovery phrase.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The extreme measures you have to take to protect that seed phrase.
The sources outline absolute non-negotiables for this. You never, ever store it digitally.
No screenshots.
No screenshots, no password managers, no cloud backups, nothing connected to the internet.
Because hackers use automated scripts that just constantly scan compromised devices looking for those 12 or 24-word patterns.
Exactly, so you have to keep it in the physical world. But paper is just a temporary bridge.
Yeah, paper burns in a fire, it gets ruined in a flood.
So the standard practice is metal backups, stamping the words into stainless steel plates, 304 or 316 marine-grade steel specifically.
And there's a fascinating detail from the sources about this. You actually only need the first 4 letters of each word.
Right, because the BIP39 word list was engineered so that no 2 words share the same first 4 letters. If the word is abandon, no other word starts with ABAN.
That is so clever. It saves so much time when you're literally hammering letters into steel.
It does. But creating this indestructible vault raises a massive secondary issue: inheritance planning.
Oh, wow. Yeah. If you pass away, how do your heirs actually get your crypto?
It's a huge problem. People take their security secrets to the grave all the time. But the fatal mistake is putting your seed phrase directly into your will.
Because a will gets copied and emailed by lawyers and stored on hackable servers.
Exactly. You expose your master key to dozens of people. The secure approach is delicate. Your inheritance plan should give clear instructions on where to find the physical metal backup.
Like telling them which safety deposit box it's in?
Right. And what hardware wallet to use.
Yeah.
But you never write the actual phrase in the document itself.
You guide them to the vault without giving them the combination. That makes a lot of sense.
It requires a totally different mindset for estate planning.
Okay, so we've got the foundation. We understand the scarcity, and we've got our metal backups locked down. Let's pivot to the practical side.
The scaling problem.
Exactly. If Bitcoin is so secure, why can't we easily use it to buy a cup of coffee?
That brings us to the blockchain trilemma. It's the idea that a network has to balance security, decentralization, and scalability.
And you can really only maximize 2 of those at once, right?
Right. Bitcoin's base layer uncompromisingly prioritizes security and decentralization.
Which means it's slow. It only processes about 7 transactions per second and takes 10 minutes to confirm.
And during busy times, the fees can get really high. You aren't going to pay a $5 fee and wait 10 minutes for a $3 coffee.
But the solution is amazing. It's layer 2, specifically the Lightning Network.
Yes, the Lightning Network is built on top of Bitcoin. It allows users to open what are called payment channels with each other.
And this happens off-chain, right?
Exactly. You transact off-chain millions of times per second if you want. And the fees are literal fractions of a cent.
So the aha moment here for you listening is this. You use the main Bitcoin network for large, secure value storage, like holding your life savings or buying a house.
Because you want maximum security for that.
Right. But you use the Lightning Network for everyday microtransactions, tipping a creator, buying that coffee.
And then eventually those Lightning channels settle the final net balance back on the main secure blockchain. It scales the network perfectly without changing the base rules.
So what does this all mean? We have this incredibly secure base layer and a lightning-fast payment layer. But the reality is people are still losing billions of dollars.
Yes, because while the blockchain is highly secure, the human element is the weak link.
We're moving into the dark side of crypto now, the threat landscape.
Billions are lost annually, and it's
Yeah.
almost never a technical hack of the network. It is social engineering.
The scams.
Exactly. Scammers bypass the cryptography entirely and attack the psychology of the user.
The sources outline a few specific ones to watch out for. Pig butchering is a big one.
That one is so insidious. It's a hybrid romance and investment scam. They call it pig butchering because the victim is slowly fattened up with fake returns over months.
They build real trust before disappearing with everything.
Right. Or you see rug pulls and Ponzi schemes, projects promising impossible daily yields until the founders just run off with the liquidity.
And then there's the really technical phishing stuff, like quishing QR code phishing or malicious smart contracts.
The smart contract drainers are terrifying. Users will connect their wallet to a fake website that looks totally legitimate.
And they get a prompt to approve a transaction.
And because people are so used to just clicking approve on things, they don't read the code. They sign a contract that gives the hacker permission to drain their entire wallet.
Just blindly handing over the keys. And since crypto is irreversible, there is no customer service undo button.
None. Which is why the cybersecurity sources preach the 60-second routine. Stop, verify, confirm.
Slow down, basically.
Yes. Scammers rely on manufactured urgency. You have to stop independently verify the addresses and never ever share your seed phrase. And never download remote access software for fake tech support.
Stop, verify, confirm. I love that. Well, we have covered an incredible journey today.
It really went from the very bottom to the top.
We started with the decentralized, mathematically scarce nature of Bitcoin. We looked at the hardcore reality of self-custody and those marine-grade metal seed phrases.
We cover the lightning-fast future of Layer 2 scaling.
And the critical vigilance you need to survive the crypto Wild West.
And the most important thing to remember is that knowledge is your best defense. Understanding why these systems work gives you the power to take true ownership of your financial future.
Absolutely. Now, before we sign off, I want to leave you with a final lingering question to ponder on your own.
Oh, this is a good one.
Since Bitcoin has that hard cap of 21 million coins, and miners are currently incentivized by block rewards, meaning newly minted Bitcoins, what exactly happens in the year 2140 when the very last Bitcoin is mined?
When that block reward goes to zero.
Exactly. Will transaction fees alone be enough to incentivize those miners to keep the massive global network secure, or will the entire economic model of Bitcoin have to evolve somehow? I invite you to chew on that fascinating mystery. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive, and we will see you next time.